Dear colleagues, we presented to your attention a report on the topic Categorical-ontological approach to information support of educational activities. The relevance of this work is as follows. Modern disciplinary educational programs, including in the field of information technologies, are a complex conglomeration of heterogeneous elements of educational content. Such programs are designed and operated in an equally challenging environment to meet employer demand for the competence of future employees. So the ontological approach is actively used by scientists and practitioners to formalize knowledge about the subject areas. However, its classical use raises a number of problems. The result of technological modeling are highly subjective, and the models themselves are often used simply as theory or taxonomy. The purpose of the work is to use an ontological approach to formalizing knowledge about the educational process during the formation of multidisciplinary educational programs for the education of bachelors and masters in the field of information technologies with different training specializations. The development of the content of master's training in the field of IT requires the consistent implementation of the following tasks. The formation of ethical production functions in accordance with the classifier of occupations and types of economic activity, determining the preparation level of bachelor's or master's for the fulfillment of these functions and key competencies for this educational qualification level, and so on. Development of the composition and content of disciplines within which form the necessary knowledge. As a result of our work to solve these problems, the results of the analysis of the subject area were presented in the form taxonomy of educational activity with selected attributes of concepts are presented on the slide. It was the first step towards building an ontological model for formalizing the goals, processes, and objects of educational activity. At the same time, the ontological model constructed in common form on the basis of accumulated information about the work of the domain has a number of significant drawbacks. When designing it, the analyst does not have to follow formal rules and restrictions. The ontological model quality depends on the effectiveness of applied practice and is very subjective. On the slide are presented a piece of that ontological model. The most important possibility to introduce mathematical foundations, verification of results, and the demonstrative power of topological design patterns into the knowledge engineering process is category theory. The mathematical apparatus of this theory makes it possible to develop commutative diagrams, including for the formalization of knowledge. On the slide, I presented the ontological model for information processing data analysis task as commutative diagrams defined on the basis of theory. On this slide, I presented in accordance with the proposed approach a categorical ontological model of educational activity. It has been developed, presented on this slide using various objects and theorems of category theory. Partially, this model was used to build an ontological model of the necessary knowledge, skills, and competencies to formalize the content of education. Disciplines and their models were used as specific content for the preparation of bachelor and masters in the field of information technology design and IT specialization in medicine. This slide shows the visualization of the ontological model. This model has been populated with entity instances. Then, through its formal description in the language ORDEF, queries were applied in semantic query web ruler language, SQWRL. Some fragments of such queries are presented on this slide. The use of such queries makes it possible to effectively form the list and content of disciplines and modules for teaching students their required competence. Conclusions. The competence approach to the organization of the educational process requires the development of a comprehensive model of learning process, teaching process, and objects that participate in them based on high-level abstraction. The presentation by the categorical ontological approach of competencies, skills, and knowledge for the implementation of the educational process allowed to systematize the plans and content of training. The methodology of informational support of educational and engineering activities was further developed on the basis of the construction and use of relevant ontologies and knowledge bases, organizing the learning process, and standardization of education based on a categorical ontological approach. Thank you for your attention.